Hello.
Wait, you want to get Instagram or Facebook?
I got Facebook.
Okay.
Okay. We are live, and we're a few minutes behind because, you know, technical difficulties.
We like to make an entrance.
Yeah, fashionably late. We're matching. All right, we are going to go and make sure to share our live and get the word out there. So if you're live and you have somebody that's planning a big event, like a wedding, like a quinceañera, anything like that, share the live. Tune in. Spread the love.
Really good tips for this one.
Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about today. Okay.
Are we actually live?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, nice.
You're going
I'm
Instagram?
keep refreshing Instagram.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, everybody. So if you're joining us, please make sure to say hello in the comments so that we can recognize you, shout your company out, all the things. So we're just going to wait a minute so that the live goes active, gets spread around.
Oh, look at the rain falling.
It's raining outside.
Did everybody get rain?
It's good? Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
We've got producer Jose off to the side.
He's happy now.
Yeah.
Now he can watch the rain fall.
Who do we have on Instagram? Make sure you say hello.
Uvaldo's watching. Oh,
Uvaldo.
let me share the video. Share the video.
Share the live to your feeds, to your stories. If you know somebody planning an event, we are going to talk about food at your event today as we're drinking wine.
Which is going to make me hungry, but we'll do what we can.
I just got really thirsty.
Food is so yummy. We have Jose. We have Elizabeth Davila's on here. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Alyssa Ledesma's on here.
Alisa. We're planning her wedding for next summer.
You know, this is a good one for her because she hasn't picked a caterer yet.
So yeah, that's what she's going to do next. That's what we're going to talk about. What else?
That's all who's on right now. They're trickling in, though.
We're still going on Facebook. Let's see.
I don't know how to share the video.
Oh, let's see. Somebody who came and toured us liked our video. Yay. I love. Okay. So we're just going to give that a few minutes while the live is getting put out there and people are starting to join. We're going to cover our hot topics of the month. There's been quite a few.
Some good and some not.
Yeah. Starting with, the most recent thing, two most recent things are the Boston Celtics won. Raise your hand if you thought this was the most boring NBA season ever.
It's gonna be boring until we're back in it.
So. No, you can have a good season, but it was like
no. Dallas had one job. Like, we're not in it right now, so here's your chance.
I think that's why it's boring. I was like,
come up with the come up. I do like the player in Dallas that I can't remember his name.
Oh, I do like that Derek White won with the Celtics. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
And he went over. He cut his hair.
Still indifferent.
No, I'm happy for him. Sore subject. Obviously a sore subject.
I'm not ready. We're working on a rebuild. Tony Parker was here all weekend selling his wine, and it's at H-E-B. Someone bring us some.
What is it?
Oh, I looked it up. But
maybe they can get some for their cocktail hour.
I know. He was doing pop-ups at different H-E-Bs, which leads me to believe they sell them at H-E-B. But the H-E-B by my house doesn't have it. I looked. I need to go to the northern H-E-B.
We got to go to Bougie B.
Yeah, because he was in Bernie. He was in he would just pop up and be like, "Oh, I'm on my way to H-E-B here."
If it was 1604 or outside,
that's where he was.
That's where he was
at. So he's selling his wine, which I wanted. So that got me excited more than
the finals.
More than the finals. Didn't care.
Fine then. Moving on. Did anybody see the Justin Timberlake debacle?
Oh,
we're gonna talk about it.
Not good.
Are we going to talk about anybody? Instagram?
Not good.
We're a little dry over here on Facebook.
How come people don't do Ubers, drivers? You have security. Not sure why. It's confused.
And friends, apparently.
He had friends. They followed the guy and followed the cop and begged him not to arrest him, which, by the way, the cop didn't know who he was.
I know. They said he was young, and he was like, I don't know.
He said...
he was born when Justin Timberlake was already,
Justin Timberlake was like, this is going to ruin my tour. And he's like, what tour? And I'm like, oh, my God, I'm
Would you have let him go?
No. I would have been really disappointed in him.
Yeah.
I really... It would have made me sad.
All those friends, all that money.
For something like that, that would make me sad. Like... Because, you know, come on, you could have gotten a ride home. Mm-hmm. So, that made me sad.
Hi, Raul. He's watching on Facebook.
Yay. Who else is watching?
Let's see. How do we say hello? Hi.
Say hola.
Raul, you just missed our talk about the finals.
Oh, yeah, Raul. How do you feel about who won? I'm just glad it wasn't LeBron. I kind of did. Okay, I'll be nice. I did want I don't know his name, the guy from Dallas.
Oh, Luka?
Yeah. I kind of wanted him to win. I felt like he gave his all, but I just don't like Dallas.
He didn't come through when he needed to, supposedly.
There's just people, I am not a Texas team kind of girl. No. Not my Spurs. I don't care. I'm okay.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yes,
Teresa.
But someone please find me the Tony Parker wine.
Who else said hi?
Liz Davila.
Oh, hi,
Elizabeth.
Liz.
She said hi.
Okay. Make sure if you're booked with us, you tell us, like, who you are,
yeah, tell
your
us the date and everything,
or how you know about us, anything like that. Okay, what about Bridgerton? Is everybody done? Can we talk about it?
Can we give spoilers?
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Do it now so that way people know. I love the wedding.
I thought the wedding was really pretty. I thought her dress was gorgeous. I love the satin look.
Did you notice the food at the reception, which we were talking about food anyways? But it was like heavy.
Yeah,
like
very.
Heavy.
It was plentiful.
But it was like a breakfast reception. Yeah.
Yeah, and supposedly it was like bigger than normal. Like there's supposed to be something more intimate.
The only thing I didn't like is they had no chairs. Did you notice? Nobody sat. Nobody sat. It was a standing reception.
Yep.
Oh, that drives me bananas. But anyways, yes, she was very pretty dressed.
Mm-hmm. I think in general they're used to being uncomfortable in that day and age.
But which dresses do you like? Which is like the top 3?
I liked her dress, and you know her sister got married like shortly after that, and yes. I loved her dress too.
The sister's dress,
the little like elopement dress.
Yeah,
I was obsessed with it.
I forgot about that dress.
Remember? I know, because they didn't make a big deal out of her wedding. It was like
I was trying to understand the whole plot because he wasn't very talkative, but then she's not very talkative because they said it's really her that's not very talkative. I think that was the vibe. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't understand the thing. Because he never asked for permission, which they normally ask for permission.
Yeah, he was just like, we're getting married.
Yeah, and he kept saying, I'm going to ask your brother, but he never really asked his brother. So it was a little weird. I didn't get that part.
I know. I feel like they give him a pass because they're both weird.
And I don't like that Daphne wasn't at the wedding.
She wasn't anywhere to be seen this season.
Like, pay the girl a couple mil to show up just for the wedding.
Right.
Like, it unites the family. It just didn't make sense to me on that one. So I didn't understand that. But the blue is already coming into the office.
Yeah. We're hearing about the Bridgerton blue.
Yes.
Pastels, yellow, oranges, sage. What else? Anything pastel is what I think we're going to see for the next, 12 months, something like that. Even in the fall. Like, I know, like, pastels are very spring and summer.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see touches of it in the fall, too, with deeper florals.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think if we get anything positive out of Bridgerton, we're going to get some pretty weddings.
We're going to get some pretty spring, summer weddings.
Yeah.
A lot of the blues. The tours that we've had, those are the colors that they come up with. And there's no way they saw the wedding yet, so I feel like it was already coming out.
Yeah.
And they just kind of made it into
a thing. It's on social media everywhere. So I think people are going to take from that and run with it.
But the dresses were really pretty.
Yeah, I really like the fashion in Bridgerton. Let me see, what else? I'm trying to see if anybody else has jumped on here.
I think Raul said something about the Celtics.
He just said true, but I wanted the Mavs to win. Oh, the Mavs, since Boston has won so many titles.
They have like 15 titles.
It's true.
But
may the best man win.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. Those players, the players didn't win the titles, so the team did. So you're starting fresh.
Yep.
So you got to win them all over again. So.
How many minutes in are we?
10.
9. 9.5. Oh, yeah, 10.
Because, well, we started later.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so we can actually get into it. We try and wait like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
all right? All right, so we're going to get into our topic of the day, which is food. Food at your events. So we're going to start with, like, I think the easiest thing is to start, like, bare bones. Like, what is the difference between a this, or that? So obviously, if you're having an event, it is proper etiquette to have some sort of food there for your guests, especially if there's alcohol.
Yes.
At the event. Cheers.
Yes, gotta have something to eat with.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the big things. Obviously, and if you're having an evening event, people would expect that you had some sort of dinner. So we get asked all the time, and I think more so now, like we have some younger couples coming in that don't know the difference between, this and that. So what is, we're going to get like kindergarten.
I know we should have flashcards now.
I know. I feel like, we're going to have to start there. Because a lot of people don't understand the difference between what a buffet meal is, or they have a different concept of it in their head. So there's buffet meal, and there's also like a plated / sit-down meal. So what would you explain, like, how would you describe a buffet?
So a buffet meal is where you're going to have a line where people will come up and get their food. So they'll either be released, depending on the function, they're either released by a coordinator, or they're just told, okay, now the buffet is open, and you can just make your way through the buffet line.
Right.
So
all the food is like
in one section, like one buffet.
Right. And the sit-down dinner is you have actual servers that have plated it in the back. I'm going to say, like, loosely, the back, the kitchen.
The kitchen.
And they run waiters to each of the tables and serve the food to your guests while they're sitting down.
Yeah, so people will call it a sit-down, or they'll call it plated. Yeah. Depending on who the caterer is you're talking to.
Yeah, some people, it's described, or the words are different.
Yeah.
It's like with linen, somebody calls it discolor.
Yes.
But the concept is the same. The guests are standing to go to the food, or the guests are sitting and the food comes to them.
And a lot of people, when they think buffet, they think the Chinese buffet, or they think
right, Vegas. Like free-for-all.
Free-for-all. Yeah. So a lot of people think, oh, no, I don't want a buffet because I don't want people to just help themselves. And that's not necessarily the case. Most of the time, buffets are manned, so someone is serving them. So there's portion control. There are some caterers that let them kind of just go.
Right. So they'll serve like the meat, or like the big entree, and then like let the guests serve the sides, and they bring enough,
They'll bring enough. Yeah.
Hi, Amanda's photo booth. Hi, Asia.
Asia.
But yeah, so there's a couple of different ways that we could do it. We recommend, that you at least have some sort of server up there to, manage the portion control, especially if you have a caterer who, like, everything is done very, like, if it's 250 people, it's 250 people. Yeah. There's no leeway here or there. So you definitely want to have that portion control. Yeah. But I also think there's a couple of, like, really nice caterers that do serve the entree, and then them standing there kind of helps monitor the portion control down the line for the sides. So I've seen it done successly in both ways.
When the first time I saw them do it, where they just let them go, I was like, oh my God, it's Vegas. But people don't genuinely do that. They kind of just, for lack of a better word, act right. So they don't go like this. Yeah. So it does make it easier, right? If you're able to. So either way, it works. But definitely have your coordinator or have the caterer facilitate releasing by table, so it's not a big mad dash to the buffet. And I always tell people, there's plenty of food. Just hang tight. We'll release you, so that way there's not one long line.
And if you're a guest watching this and you go to an event with a buffet, just please listen to the instructions, because really it's if I've got a line wrapped around the ballroom, like, it doesn't make it go faster.
It doesn't make it go faster.
And if you're in heels, then you're just going to stand there in heels.
And they're not, they're not going to run out of food. We'll get to it, like making sure your head count matches your food. Because if your head count matches your food, then you're going to be fine. Then the caterer will have 250 chicken, and so on and so forth. Right. So that's why, as a guest, you don't have to go right away to the buffet line.
Right. I think people feel like that because maybe in old school like traditions where they're like, we're just gonna order
When
X
you're
amount
out,
of
you're
plates
out.
and it's
Yeah.
out. Too bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like the industry's kind of moved away from that, especially if you're at a venue that has like an approved caterers list or does food in house. Like I think we're a little bit more mindful of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are to me. 90% of the time, you're gonna see a buffet or a sit-down dinner or meal.
Yeah, definitely the caterers do a better job, a really good job, especially ones on our list that make sure the head count and the table, our head count and their head count match.
Right. A couple of other ways that you would see it done are food stations. So those are kind of fun, especially if you have, well, I don't want to say just an intimate head count because you really could do it with.
Oh no.
With.
Remember my Cinco de Mayo one?
Yes, I was thinking about that. But food stations are like you've got a little bit over here, a little bit over there. It's kind of like a buffet but split up. But you could have multiple meats or multiple entrees around. You could have like a pasta station here and what do you call it? A meat station, a carving station, and mac and cheese or a salad
bar.
So people kind of get smaller, either one big plate and put a bunch of stuff on it, or like they have smaller plates that they can like graze, you know what I mean, and eat throughout the dinner hour. I've seen it less and less, but I also think it's really fun, like, because you can fill up and you can try different things. You do have to be mindful with a food station. They will ask you to order a percentage over the head count because you don't know if one person comes back once or, or twice or three times. So you typically have to order an X amount of percentage over, and I would talk to the caterer.
Yeah, you definitely want to pad it.
Yeah, pad it a little bit because you could run out of one before the other. And so there's,
Yeah, the Cinco de Mayo one, it was on the hillside. And so we have like a wraparound porch. And they did stations. So it was like Fiesta. She wanted it to be like the food booths at Fiesta. So she had different stations with different things all around. So it was really cool. We still released a little bit at a time just so there wasn't a mad rush. And then you kind of just, I think they ended up doing small plates.
Yeah.
On certain tables, and then the bigger, like the meats and like the fajitas and stuff, they had bigger plates. So it kind of just depended on the station.
Yeah.
So.
And I also think when doing a food station style is going to depend on the type of event you want to have. So like that, like I want it to feel like we're at Fiesta, or I want it to feel like, I don't want it to be so formal. Those are the ones that you're going to see things like that at. Another way that we have seen it done, again, not so popular, or I don't know if it's popular, like it's just not as seen as much, is a family style. Family style is when you see all of the food at the actual guest table. And then, it's like when you're having dinner with your family, you put, or think of like Thanksgiving dinner, how you have like all the food in the middle and people just kind of pick and get what they want. That's what family style is. I think there are only a handful of caterers in the area that successfully do it because you need the proper equipment and plating and stuff to do it. Like I've seen people with like the Lazy Susans and they have, stuff like that. And it's a little bit more work, I think, and more rentals for them to go and like put it on the table and work around, your florals or whatever candles that you have on the table. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more work. I think it's a little bit more like, them bringing hot food out. It's kind of like a sit down, but they're bringing more stuff out to the table. So I haven't seen that in a while. I feel like that one,
you still kind of have to pad the food again because if I have like producer Jose in the back and they're at our table, what is to guarantee that he's not going to get more than one piece of chicken? I mean, if he grabs another piece of chicken, we might be like, hey, it's one per person. But Paque, he already grabbed it. Right. So you still have that issue of people kind of being to their own devices. And so they're might overserve and it'll mess up the whole count.
Yeah, so I agree. You have to pad it a percentage over.
We'll blame him.
Those are kind of like the main ones that you'll see. Like I said, for the most part, we'll see buffet or sit-down dinner, plated meals. And then food stations and family style. Here at Granberry, a lot of times it's food. It's buffet or sit down. But
because if you want to do, I was thinking about it when you were talking, like if people want to go on that Bridgerton vibe, most of the weddings they have sit down. It's a sit down like dinner.
Right.
So it could be buffet. Doesn't necessarily have to be, formal sit down. Or you could do like stations like they did, heavy hors d'oeuvres. But if you watch the show, it's like heavy, like
yeah, they've got like
it's big.
towers of food all over the place.
So you don't want it to be smaller portions because it does. And appetizers, it's almost as much as a meal.
Yeah.
Because you have to get more than one.
Right. I think people think if I do appetizers for my event, it'll be cheaper. Like, no. Like, if you actually go to a caterer, even just a decent caterer, you'll see that appetizers can be anywhere from like $3 to $8 a person, depending on what you order. Yeah. And you have to think about it. Like, it's prepped a different way. It's not done in like, oh, this mass quantity. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's things that are cut, that are put together, that are nicely, presented.
So if you have like 150 people, you don't get 150 bacon wrapped chicken. You got to get more because, again, producer Jose has 2 fisted. He got 2 of them. Well, then someone else isn't going to get one. So you end up spending the same
more
amount.
Because you really could spend let's say $25 a person on food.
Alexis is here.
Hi, Alexis. You're spending, $25 a person on a full meal on like chicken and mashed potatoes and veggies, and versus appetizers. Yeah, because like we're not gonna get full. People don't get full on one little bruschetta or anything like that. They're gonna have 5 or 6, and 5 or 6 times 5 or 6, like you're already at a plate of food, and it's not the same filling. So that's something to consider for people who are like, I just want to do this. Now, if you're doing like a 2-hour standing reception, maybe that's different. But if you're having like a 4 or 5, 6-hour reception, you cannot get away with doing heavy apps and thinking your guests are going to be satisfied.
Yeah.
Or full, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So those are just some like main pointers to think about when you're getting ready to plan your meal for your big day. Another thing,
and all of them, you can go to the caterer when you do the tasting, and you can ask them like, what's the financial difference between A, B, and C. That way they can tell you.
They can tell you like a full meal with this, and this is going to cost whatever, and then this is going to cost whatever. And I think that going to a reputable caterer will really help. In making your decision, like, because you don't want to leave your guests hungry. But yeah, so that's one thing. Another thing that people get into a lot is like having the Chinaware, right? Or disposable ware. I really think that there's no like right or wrong way to do it, especially depending on the venue that you're at. Like here at Granberry, they get the Chinas. That's really nice. But you could always order it with the caterer as well. But if I'm having like a chill Sunday wedding with, 50 people, and I want it to be kind of casual and in and out, like there's nothing wrong with you doing disposable ware.
So as a coordinator,
okay,
outside of here, what's the percentage of people that get China in your weddings?
I think it just depends on the budget. I think it depends on what their budget is and what their vibe is. I mean, I've seen people do weddings at like really nice venues and do disposable ware, or they do a mixture. Like they'll do the real glassware for like the tea and the water, but the plates are acrylic, and it's just cheaper that way. So there's that element of something nice on the table. When guests come in, they have like this and maybe some silverware. Or this and a napkin, and it just adds a little more like zhuzh, but it's cheaper than doing like a full place setting. So if it's me, I love a China set. Like I think it elevates your event, but I don't think there's anything wrong with doing disposable. But also I think you have to do it right. Like we're talking like clear acrylic disposable ware that looks nice, or even like black flatware is pretty, or like the plastic ware, black or clear, something that looks nice. That doesn't look, like it's a backyard picnic.
Yeah.
Because I to me, still got to be mindful that it's a wedding.
Yeah.
Like no red Solo cups.
Yeah, make it clear. Or if red's your theme, then, but, but you could do different aspects
like I said,
of it.
Not a right or wrong way necessarily, but there's a way for where it looks nicer, it looks cleaner.
I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, back in the old days, people, mason jars were the thing, guys. Like, everybody wanted a mason jar. Like, Walmart had them, like, in
burlap
cases.
and mason jars.
People would bring personalized glassware, and they would have them, we would put them on the table, and in that particular case, it was mason jars. And so that was what they used for their tea, for their water, for their alcohol. They used it all night. And back then, we were doing, like, the china, no china. So that was their china.
Yeah.
So that's something you can do if you want to do that. But and then people get to take it home.
Yeah. But talk to the caterer about what you think, you know. Like I said, with Granberry, you get the china, which is nice, so you don't have to think about it. But yeah, so that's going to be the next step that you think about.
Yeah.
Hi, Teresa. Brides by Elizabeth is watching.
Elizabeth.
We love you.
Girl, get your Bridgerton dresses out. I know they did a post a couple weeks
I
ago.
know. We're waiting.
Oh,
we need some more.
It. I know. I can't get enough of it. Sorry. I just love that this one was like a normal girl.
Who?
You know,
Penelope?
Penelope.
Oh, yeah.
Like
she put, like, you know, like plus-size girls on the map.
Yes.
She's a Skims model now. It's a thing. But just even the vibe. I really liked her dress. Like, it wasn't white. It was, like, champagne.
It was very tastefully done. It was so pretty. And I love that her mom walked her down the aisle. Sorry, now we're going back. I love that her mom walked her down the aisle. And it was just,
yeah, it was pretty.
So pretty. Sorry.
Let's see. Who else? Hi, Teresa. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi. We got Gina over here.
Hello.
And Jacqueline Smith over here.
Hello. How
and
are y'all?
Alexis is about to pop one. We're going to have a Granberry baby. Another one.
Yay.
So.
Okay. So now we're going to move to, like, should we do this first or should we do this first? I guess this, right?
I don't know. They're both good.
Okay, we have a lot to cover. We have so much content, so that's why we're like, okay, how are we going to do it?
Good.
Okay, well then let's talk about different foods for daytime versus evening weddings. So we have experience doing like brunch weddings on, you know, like a Sunday brunch.
I don't like them.
If
you want me to be your coordinator,
that's amazing.
I'm a 1 a.m. girl. Get here at 6.
I will get up at 5 to be out of the house at 7
in the morning amongst friends.
To greet you at 9 or whatever it is.
I'm at the height of my perkiness at 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Ready to go.
Let's see. Hi, Arn. Hi, Joseph. Let's see. Teresa said blush and pink wedding gowns are hot. Ooh. Okay, so we're getting into like pops of color now.
Okay, we're gonna have to do another dress live.
We may have to go to your shop, Teresa, and do another. You know.
Yeah.
Granberry.
If
Granberry
you're
takes
for a
over.
dress, like, but yeah, Brides by Elizabeth, Bridal Connection. They're right next to each other. Make your appointments. Knock it out.
Joseph said. Hello, dynamic duo, forced to be reckoned with, and all around get it done. That's right.
Especially till 1 a.m. See, she's a 7 a.m. I'm a 1 a.m. Like, you're
morning, night.
Yeah.
We have everything covered.
She'll check in all the vendors for us while we roll in at 6 o'clock.
And she'll lock it up.
I'll lock it up. Rested. Oh yeah, we have to post a picture of me. Like, I forgot my keys.
Art says, "Hello, ladies. Y'all look amazing."
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll send you coffee.
We miss you.
No, but I forgot how to lock up, so I had to go. It was sketchy, but it was okay. It was fun.
Wait, what are you talking about?
When I couldn't lock the ballroom because I locked my keys in here. I locked my keys in
We'll
the
post
office.
it to the Instagram story
yes,
this week.
And I figured out how to do it. And I told Bob, like, all proud of myself. I was like, oh, I figured out how to lock up without keys. And he's like, oh. And I was like, well, probably not everybody can do it. You have to be a certain height. But yeah, we'll post it. It's fine.
Okay.
Crazy.
Okay, so back to brunch weddings on a Sunday. You know, like pancakes, eggs, waffles. Blanca's did the most amazing brunch wedding. When was it? Maybe like a year ago.
Chicken and waffles.
She did chicken and waffles. She did donuts. She did muffins, like a fruit bar, a yogurt bar. Like it was bacon, eggs, biscuits, gravy. It was like a whole thing. So even though that's like heavy, it was like, I don't know. I mean, it's familiar breakfast foods.
Yes.
So I really like that. I love the idea of the heavier meals for like later events, the Teresa events that go till 1 or 2. And they're drinking for 5 hours.
We need to feed them.
Yeah. So
afternoon.
Appropriate dinner, like we were saying. Like let's load up on the carbs.
Yes. Yeah, you definitely don't want it to be something casual, light, because for the late ones, They start at like 6 or 7, and they go till 1 a.m.
Right.
So it's, what did we say, 6-7 hours of drinking?
I mean, yeah, they're drinking for like a while.
So yes, there's dinner in between where they do stop, but then from dinner's probably 7 o'clock. So they're dancing from 8 to 1 a.m. Not a lot of people are eating cake. So I usually suggest like midnight, maybe 11:30, throw out a late night snack, and it just kind of, you know, gives them a little something in there, something to soak it up.
You know, let's carb it up. Like,
street tacos,
macaroni, street tacos. What else did we say earlier?
We had Whataburger before.
Somebody did a mashed potato bar. Like, that was fun. Like, just something to, noodle cart.
The noodle cart.
The King says are getting popular with
Uvaldo
that.
knows the name of that, and I can never say it right, but it's a certain soup.
The Maruchan.
Yeah. I was like, what is that soup?
It's like ramen. It's like the noodles. Cup of noodles.
Cup of noodle soup. The Royal, it's not Royal. It's Romo Rentals does it. There you go. That came out even better. And there was another cake lady I saw that started doing it too. So that was fun.
Those are popular for like the quinceañeras and stuff. Like, it's fun for the kids, but for the adults, it serves a purpose.
Yeah. The adults, I'm like, just eat it. Just eat it.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely, I highly recommend doing
like, we're not talking about being bougie and like sophisticated here. We're talking like we need something good to eat.
Yeah. Because
we've been drinking for 4+ hours and we need to get through the next hour.
And keep in mind, it's later in the evening. So plasticware is fine. You know, the
pictures are done.
The pictures are done. The tables are clear. So we're talking about just something to give your guests something to eat. And they will eat it. Like, you'd be surprised. People are usually like, no one's going to eat. I'm like, oh, no, they will. You tell them there's tacos. They're on their way. So pretty much your caterer can do all of that we mentioned. The tacos, they can do the mac and cheese. They can do mashed potatoes.
I like having just a caterer bring in another round of food.
Yeah.
Depending on your venue. I'm not saying that all venues allow this, but the Whataburger drop-offs, the Chick-fil-A drop-offs, you have to ask the caterer and you have to talk to the venue. But just stuff like that, like fun. She said earlier, like something easy, easy bites.
Yes, I like easy bites for cocktail hour, and I like them for late night. Because late night,
we don't want to mess with the
they've been drinking, so to ask them to try to do stuff is too much. You know. But because we're talking, people go and eat a taco for 5 minutes and they're back on the dance floor. You know, the ones we do, like they're back on the dance floor. So it's like 5 minutes, 3 tacos, they're small. Let's go, vámonos. You know, people can do menudo. You know, I'm bringing out the Mexican in me. But it's just different things to give people something to do. Because think about it, if you were out having a few drinks, there's always a taco truck or something that you can go eat after your event. We're just saying do it during your event. So it's a gesture for your guests. Yeah. And they love it. They're like, oh my God, look what they have for us. Let's eat.
I really like it. And it keeps people like, if there's that point where people just need to stop and go do something, and then it's just something else that they can talk about. Yeah. It's like more interaction where they're like, ooh, comadre, what'd you put in your macaroni?
Like did you get tacos? You know? So it really is a nice thing. And all the caterers, at least the ones on our list, but all of them will do something like that for you because they're already there. So you could definitely talk to them about late night snack options.
Yeah, for sure.
So they know what to do.
What are some popular, let's talk about like trends right now. Like what are popular things that we're seeing?
Well, we said that the late nights.
Late nights are a big trend for sure. Like that is a big trend. Like people, 9 out of 10 weddings are doing it right now, or quinces. But like for the dinner, I think
you said barbecue. We are getting a surge of barbecue.
Is making a comeback. Like the last maybe 2 months that I've been doing tours or that we've been talking to our booked clients, like barbecue is making a comeback. I think because country music is making a comeback right now, and like the Texas vibe is a big thing. I don't know if you saw like Ryan Bingham's wedding with that girl, the Yellowstone guy.
Yellowstone guy.
They were like Texas glam type of style. Like I just feel like that whole country vibe is coming back, and it's a thing again.
You're doing all those weddings.
I love those weddings. I love them.
I love cowboys, but not cowboy weddings.
I love it.
It's the country music.
I just think in general, like the barbecue, and then you can do a Texas wedding without doing like barbecue. I don't know.
But it has been a thing. People have been adding lately.
People have been asking, and they want to do it like nicer, not like, how do we say it without being, but like a nice brisket, you know what I mean?
A nicer version.
Yeah, something
elevated,
yes.
Yeah, because we've had caterers do brisket that they carve here on site, and right there, your barbecue just went up, 10 points.
Right, exactly.
Because they're carving it in front of your guests, and they're like, ooh.
Yeah, it's not like you go through the drive-through type of thing. Yeah, like they've been making it nicer.
It makes it nice for people.
I also think like the homemade stuff, like Blanca's, like she does like the homemade borracho beans and stuff like that. Like I just think putting like a nice little touch on that. But yeah, like a higher quality meat.
Yes.
That's what it is. But you can't go wrong. Like I think the cordon bleus are always going to be really popular. Heavenly Gourmet has a really good cordon bleu. Mexican food is a big thing right now. And I think it's just seasonal too.
Yeah.
Like barbecue in the summer. You know what I mean? Cordon bleu, something like comforting.
The cordon bleu has not gone away, and it's been at least 15 years.
Yeah, it's classic. It's a classic wedding food. Like you can't get away from it.
Everybody loves it, and you're like, okay, yay.
Yeah.
And we can say that because we've, if we have 3 weddings a weekend, that's the same thing that people get. But you guys, as a bride, is like, this is the first time I've tried it. Yes, I want it.
Right.
So that's why we say it. Not because it's not good. It's just because we see it all the time.
Yeah, we do. We see it a lot.
But it's just, Blanca has this sauce that I don't know what she puts in it.
And
I tried to ask her, and she won't tell me. I called it crack sauce because, I get the bills from the brides that want to pick the caterers, and she'll clean up, and it's Blanca, and it's all the same thing. And I'm like, what did you put in your sauce? But lately we've been getting only one catering, which they have Mexican food, plus they have barbecue. So it's just kind of, we're getting a little difference from our brides.
Yeah. They want to do something different.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, seasonal. We've seen a lot of aguas frescas in the summer, which if Elisa's watching, or I saw Cynthia's watching.
Yeah.
The mom and daughter are watching.
I think my phone's going to die, yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, so aguas frescas in the summer. So talk to your caterer about that. Like, those are really good. You can even spike them, like have them separate for the kids, but spike them for the adults. What else? Roasted corn.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are just some like things that we've been seeing lately. But I think like the big thing for me is the barbecue. Like that, the higher end good barbecue.
How do you feel about appetizers?
I don't know. Okay, so if I had to do it my way, I'm like a heavy app, light dinner, good late night snack person. That's me. But I think, that was, we were talking about that too, about cocktail time.
Yeah, because I'm like a light middle.
You're a
light beginning, heavy, and then light.
Yeah. No, I'm like a heavy, light, heavy. See, that's so funny though. Like,
well, you just have to decide.
But it also depends, because if you've got as a bride or as a couple, if you get married and you've got a long photo time, cocktail hour time, if you make me eat pretzels for an hour, like I probably will like punch somebody.
Take my gift to go.
Yeah, like they get hungry. So if you're somewhere where like you can keep the cocktail time, photo time like 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes maybe, then you can get away with something lighter. Fruit, right? Veggies, charcuterie, stuff like that. That is manageable, but if you know you're going to do like a full hour of photos and the guests are just hanging out and there's like nothing to eat, nothing to do, like that drives me crazy.
Yeah, and even a charcuterie board will fill your guests up really. I mean,
but you got to have a good one.
Oh, like, yeah, but I mean, I can live off a charcuterie board.
I know.
Like
you can.
I love them.
Producer Jose cannot.
No, he can't. He'll be like, there's not enough meat.
Yeah, like just something heavier for them. Like even if like a chips and queso or chips and salsa bar, that would be good right before dinner.
But keep in mind, and again, it's my unpopular opinion, but if you're gonna have people outside and you're gonna have them standing, and you expect them to eat chips and salsa, like how is this working? How is this working? Like now I gotta figure out how to eat it.
Yeah.
Like get them something that they can eat. Like, okay, I love the ones where they do like the little small pedophores and you can just, pop them in your mouth and you're good to go. Those make it a little bit easier. Yeah. And that's it. Because it makes it easier for people so they're more comfortable. So that definitely is something I would do. Maybe do a 30-minute photo area and then let them go in that last 15 minutes.
Right.
And then that way they can get situated, they can get seated. It's a lot for people to stand for 30 minutes to an hour.
And this is for people who, like, if you're at a venue that has separate areas, invest in renting cocktail tables, stools, seating, something like that. Where like if they're just like coming straight in and there's nowhere for them to sit, or they're doing separate cocktail hours separate from the seating because they're prepping dinner inside. I mean, they need somewhere to sit. Figure that part out, especially for the viejitos. Like, you don't want, like, for grandparents and stuff like that, you don't want them to be unaccommodated in that way. So if you're having a true cocktail hour, have heavy apps and somewhere to sit.
The planner in me is if I know there's a cocktail hour and I know where the venue is, it'll determine the kind of shoes I wear.
Yeah.
Because if I know I'm going to have to stand, then I'll wear different shoes than if I know there's going to be seating.
Right. If there's seating, you can wear the cute shoes.
Yeah. So it's just, that was my thing from last month.
God.
I have to say that.
Yes.
It drives me bananas.
It's important. It's super important.
Have seating for people.
Yeah. That goes back to like, we had a conversation about like fancy food. Let's quote unquote called fancy food versus familiar food. And we have this conversation with the owner all the time of like, do I serve food that is like, what did we say earlier?
Unrecognizable.
Like unrecognizable food. Like there's salads that are like a bed of greens topped with a grilled peach and feta cheese and, stuff like that. That's like yummy. But like not everybody.
Every time I go out with them. And
at Tejano won't eat that. Like
every time I go out with him and it's something like that, I'm like, it's a fruit salad, Bob. Like, that's what I tell him. Because he's like, what is this?
He's like,
I don't know what this is. And I'm like, it's fruit salad. It's a fruit. Just eat it. So he just, when we did his party, we did his 60th birthday party, and we went to the caterer, and God bless Loretta. But she was like, I will make him whatever he wants. And she's like laying all his food. I don't know what she was talking about. And I was like, okay, well, he just wants like, his favorite is the pecan crusted chicken. And she's like, and I was like, that's all he wants. That's all he wants. And she's like, what? And I was like, he's a simple man. He just likes,
pecan crusted chicken,
mashed
potatoes,
and vegetables.
Yep.
He's happy as a clam. And she was like, but that's the type of person he is. He likes food that's recognizable but good.
Right.
So, and that's the same thing. I see it with quinces. I see it a lot with quinces with the kids.
No, I mean, I see it with South Texas weddings. Like, if you have a predominantly Hispanic family, South Texas family, like, you can't put a microgreens with what did I just say? A grilled peach and feta cheese with a balsamic vinaigrette. Like, you can't do that because they're not going to recognize it. And not to say like they're not, whatever. That's not what I'm saying. But people grow up with certain foods. Now, if I grew up in the Northeast or something like that, like, or I grew up in a family, they love seafood. Yeah. They've got the good seafood. But if I grew up in a family that was used to stuff like that, then that's what I would serve.
You know what I get nervous about?
I'm trying to say it without being like...
Well, no, but like, I'm Hispanic, obviously. But I wouldn't serve my family Mexican food because... se me vergüenza las señoras.
Oh, because you don't want like the tias to be like...
If they're going to judge the rice. It's like having... It's like, I'm picking on Bob, but like his nephew's barbecue.
And then they compare it to everything.
Yes, if I invite him to a wedding and I serve barbecue, I'm going to be like, do they like it? Or like Courtney.
Yeah, they're going to be like, what temperature is it?
Yeah, they're going to pick it apart. So, chicken's a nice, like, even playing field. You're not offending anybody. But it happens.
Yeah, like you can't mess up chicken too bad.
No, but, my dad is the worst one.
That's
He's
very
like,
true.
If the rice isn't done right. And I'm like, Dad, stop saying that. And he'll tell them. So I was like, oh, my God. So that's the kind of thing I think
But see,
of too.
that's a good point, because
Like
it's not that you're being bougie. It's that like they know what they're eating.
Know what they know how to make the rice. They know how to eat. And I make rice all the time too, but it's just funny when you put it with your family. Like I have tias and cousins that like they'll pick it apart.
That is a very good point.
So I'm always like, okay, they're Hispanic. They want Mexican food. Okay, maybe let's try something different.
Yeah.
Or go to the tastings, because they do. People can tell.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
That's why chicken and veggies will never die.
It's a basic. It covers all the platforms.
Italian too, maybe.
Italian.
That's not too bad, but I don't know. Yeah.
The Geen says, like, when we first started doing them, it's, because sometimes you get people that are like, oh, just give them pizza. Just give them pizza. Mm-hmm. But it's nice when they can have the food and they can taste it and they like it. So it makes it more personal when it's recognizable food.
Yeah.
So.
Agree.
That's my girl crazy thing.
Let me get into. I'm switching over to Instagram because Teresa's phone.
My phone died.
All right, so those are just some. I don't know if they're even tips. These are like things that we've seen, things that are popular right now.
Those are good tips because you want to know what you guys decide how you want your menu to go, what kind of food you want to have, and how you're gonna serve it. So. We're just kind of telling you this is what we've seen, so you can be like, hey, I heard.
Well, I'm really big on guest experience. Like, I understand as a planner, that it's your wedding, you do it your way. And yes, to some extent, there are those boundaries you have to put. But like when it comes to like the food and the music and the, what you're serving at the bar, like I truly feel like your guest experience is very important. Like you want them to respect your boundaries, like with all the other stuff. But like when they get there, like if they follow the rules, follow the dress code, RSVP, and they get there, you want them to have a good time. You want them to be fed well and given drinks and all the stuff. So there's something to, feeding them something nice. And,
it does make it nice because, when they walk in.
I know some people don't care. Honestly, this is for the people that care about the food. That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So let's see. Hi, Blue Bonnet Fields. I saw them join on Instagram.
It's just kind of, and you kind of have to play with your budget because that's what we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Because I was like, if it was you, where would you put your budget? What's more important to you, the appetizer or the late night snack? And so that's how we figured out what we liked.
We talked about that earlier.
And so
like, what would you do?
It wasn't really and we talked about what the budget would allow, but you still would do something, but it's just not all my money's going to go to the appetizers. My money's going to go to the dinner because I'm only going to have a 30-minute cocktail hour. So I don't want them to get full, and then we go into dinner, and they're like, oh, I can't finish it because I got full with the charcuterie.
Right.
So that's where you guys have to decide what you want to do. And it does depend on your venue. It depends on the break, how long the break is.
Right.
And then it depends on, late night snack stuff, if the caterer's going to let you bring somebody in, or if you have to get everything through them, well, then you could play with the money.
Right.
And then you could tell the caterer, okay, I want this and this, so what's the best way to get my bang for it? So.
And if you're somebody who is food focused, and a lot of the budget is going towards the food, then you're going to cut back on other stuff. Like I have brides that are like, they spent their entire a third of their budget on fresh florals or on the bar, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, or on whatever, on the photographer. And then they DIY'd their invitations. Like same thing, like we have couples that are like, I'm all about all the good food in the bar or whatever it is.
And you can tell those brides, they're the ones that they're not getting up. They're sitting there, they're eating their food.
They're eating, yeah.
So and they know it's important.
I'll come say hi in a minute.
Yeah, I once had the last one we had, Cynthia, and I love them, but they got a special meal for them too.
Yeah.
Different from everybody else. So I was conscious of it. So I was like, okay, make sure you sit down and eat. And they did. And so I kind of was like telling their guests, give them a minute, because they went through all the trouble paying extra for them to enjoy the meal. So, it's things like that you can tell what's important to people. And they can decide.
Yeah,
you guys decide what's important to you.
And just to kind of wrap this up, so we had a lot of thoughts today
about
it. But these are going to be very important questions to ask the caterer.
Yes, write this down.
Even with our caterers, we've got like 9 or 10 different approved caterers on the Granberry list. But for any caterer, these are going to be like little things that you're going to want to ask that are going to go into helping make your decision as to what you do. You're going to ask about servers. So how many servers do I need for the type of meal you want? Not type like as in Mexican, American
style.
like the style, the buffet, the plated, the whatever, because the more servers you need, the more costly that your bill will be.
Yeah.
That's why typically, like, when people say, oh, why is the buffet so much more or so much
less
expensive than the sit-down meal? Well, because the sit-down meal requires more servers to serve your guests in a timely manner.
You're literally paying extra for a body to come serve some more.
They need
guests.
more people because they're
people.
serving, 2 or 3 tables at one time versus like 1 or 2 tables go to the buffet. 1 or 2 tables to the buffet. Like it takes probably double or triple the amount of servers to do that. Another important question is to ask about how leftover food is handled. And do they provide like to-go containers and things like that? I have met some caterers that do not do it. They do not send food home with you. And then there's caterers that'll wrap it up for you nice and neat.
I've had some caterers with Cynthia's wedding. The groom brought extra to-go boxes, but they were smaller. They were like this. And so before the caterer wrapped all the food up, they made individual to-go boxes, and then they gave them to people. So you could do that if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, ask, like, do I need to bring some? If I would like some of it boxed up and given to the guests, can I do that? Do I have to bring my own altogether? Ask that. Do you wrap up the cake? Anything like that? Those are questions you're going to want to ask, especially if you have leftovers.
Yeah, and what do you do with it when you take it home? Like storage, things like those are good questions. And not just you ask, but maybe your parents or, bridal part, somebody that would know what to do. Because that night you're going to be, but somebody that's in charge.
Somebody with a big fridge.
Yeah, would know what to do with it, because that's a big thing.
Yeah, especially if they're storing it in like big tins and stuff like that. Like, where are you going to put it? You can't just let it sit out overnight.
Yeah.
Another question will be like, if it's a buffet, do the bride and groom still get served? If you have a coordinator, hopefully they can help with that. If the caterers don't do that. What else? How are the tea and water served? So typically with a buffet situation, they'll have like a drink station. Here at Granberry, they do a pre-pour once, right? Like a tea or water pre-pour. So that's something that you need to talk to the caterer about as to what you want to do. It's super important too, if it's like sweet tea, maybe some of your guests can't do sweet tea, so do unsweet, or just do water just to kind of keep it
I love catering by
neutral.
celebrations, because they do, it's almost like, it's not really white glove, but they, as your guests walk in, they're asking them which one they want, and they're serving them accordingly. So that makes it nice. It's a nice touch.
Just ask them how
and
they
it's
do
only
it.
It's only the first serve, the first pour.
Right.
And then they switch over and they go to the buffet. So it's kind of, it's a nice gesture for people.
Yeah, it's like a welcome.
Yeah, it's like, welcome to Jurassic Park.
And then there's like a nice drink station afterwards. So ask about that. Another thing is, and if you have the food added in with the venue here, don't worry about it. It's already, everything's kind of like an all-in thing. But if you're hiring a caterer off-site, like you have to do it on your own, ask about gratuity costs. That's a big thing. What do you call them? Gratuity and service fees and stuff like that. Because typically, they're providing you a service and they need their fees. So when they give you the quote, make sure that those fees are incorporated, because it does take it up. Could be anywhere from 20 to 25% right now. Something like that.
You'll see them at the show. They're gonna tell you the food starts at 14, 15 ahead, whatever it is. And then if you like the food, you schedule a tasting. But it's based on wherever you're having your wedding at. So if it's at Granberry, it's probably a different price. If it's at another venue, it's going to be a different price.
Right. Or if they do it in-house.
Or they do it in-house. And then if you need to get the total bill. Like when we do the things, we're like all-in bill. So with everything, fees included, we want to know the total bill. So that's what you want to ask for, because it's the 14, 15 ahead. That's just the opening negotiation.
Right. It's just,
that's not the total.
Yeah. When you get the whole, like, it's a per person, $20, $30 per person, whatever it is, that's never like the final thing. You have to get the all-in costs. Another good question is your vendor meals. So as a client, you want to be mindful of all of your vendor contracts. A lot of times your coordinator, your DJ, you're a photographer, people who are going to be with you or on site for more than, 6 hours or whatever it is. Photographers really, like, they're with you like all day in your planner.
Yeah.
See if they require you to purchase a meal for them. Sometimes there's a buyout, like where you just pay them. They go get their own food or bring their own food. But talk to the caterer about, do you provide a vendor meal?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's at a lower rate. Like we make fun of, like, not make fun of, but people make fun of like box lunches and stuff like that. Honestly, like for me, I don't care. Like we're running around, and if I eat, I eat. If I don't, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think more and more I'm seeing the couples like purchase the same meal for the vendor. And I think it just depends where they're at. If they're at a hotel and the meals are $125 a plate, maybe not.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
You might get like the chicken and veggies at the
but just tell the venue if you don't want to pay the $125. Like, I want a hot meal for my vendor. Give me some options.
Right.
Tell them, like, I don't want to give them the same meal that my guests are getting because it's $100 and something.
Right.
Okay, but what's a hot dish? I think that's the biggest thing when vendors voice their opinions.
Right.
Is it's a cold dish, so it's a sandwich. It's like probably soggy, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you talk to the caterer and say, hey, I just want a hot dinner for my guests, like my vendors, but I don't want to pay this cost. What can I get? And then see what alternatives you can get for them.
Yeah, because typically, like even on like a hotel, you could get a hot vendor meal for half the cost, a fourth of the cost of what the filet mignon that the guests are getting.
Yeah.
And then just, I really feel like if your vendor's being that picky about it, like, are they the vendor you want? But it doesn't matter if you sign the contract.
You sign the contract, like, read it and see if they're expecting a hot meal or they're expecting to be fed. Then
and if you're already in contract with them, figure it out with the caterer. Dietary restrictions. I think most vendors are really good about that. I think even like barbecue places, they have like vegan options, like baked potatoes and you know what I mean, like veggie options. I think a lot of people have gotten on board with gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free.
But having said that, you want to take care of the guests that really do get sick from doing that. Right. Like, if Natalie just had her daughter's quinceañera. If I was like, all of a sudden I'm gluten-free, Natalie, just because it was on Bravo and I decided to do it. It can be chaotic if you have 50 people and some of them they're just saying that they are. It's the ones that, like, I'm allergic to nuts. I'm allergic to gluten. I'm allergic to dairy. Like, those are the ones that, yes, you want to make sure they're acknowledged and that your caterer knows who they are, or your coordinator, so that they're taken care of.
And a way that you could do that, the easy way, if you're not going to do like meal options or anything like that, the easy way to do it is in the invitation or RSVP card or website, you say, please notify us before the event, please notify us no later than 30 days before the event if you have a dietary restriction.
And they really should, because I've had events where they're like, do you have anything gluten-free? And I'm like I'm going through all my stuff, and they never told the bride that they were gluten-free. And so it's hard when it's these caterers that make to order your event.
Right.
So if they don't have that information, they're not going to have, it's not like where McDonald's, where I'm like, ooh, rip out a gluten-free McFlurry or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, within reason, figure out how to tell the bride and the groom. And don't be... there's this TikTok of this girl who's like, oh, I gotta look for it. I'm gonna post it. I don't know if I can post it. It's too controversial. But it's a girl who's like, I told them I only eat certain food, and so the bride and groom were gonna like get this certain food, like not the caterer food, like they were gonna go get it somewhere. I've been one song. So like, you don't be that guest. But if you just, hey, I have a gluten allergy. If you can, great. If you can't, let me know. Same thing with as a bride and a groom or a couple or a mom, put it in your invitation, put it on your meal options. If they have a restriction, let me know. So that way you can get to the caterer and get the proper numbers before the event.
Because ultimately it's the responsible of the person that has the allergy. Or, unless it's your mom and she has it, like, come on. But it's ultimately up to them to decide. But You know, sometimes we get people like that. They just show up and they're like, hey, I need gluten-free. And I'm like, I'm sorry, we don't have gluten-free because it wasn't specified.
But it's also, there are some caterers who are like, I cannot do something. And if that's important to you, then, you know, you move on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Another question before we're almost done, we're wrapping up, our food tastings. So call the caterer. A lot of them will require maybe a deposit to go do the tastings that get applied towards your bill later. If you have the food added in with the Granberry package, all the food tastings are free. You just got to call them, set up the appointment, which is great.
Yeah.
So you get to try.
Our caterers actually prefer that you go to them.
Yeah.
They prefer it. So we used to do it in-house, remember? Oh, my God.
I know. That was a crazy
time. It was Loretta days. And I was like, okay, this is a feta chicken, like, writing it out. But they prefer to do it at their location because they want to sell you.
If the guest is too picky, just invite to the reception, not the dinner. Well, the reception is the dinner.
Yeah, the reception.
So it's not that. It's not that. Like, it's, yes, if I know I'm super picky, then I'm going to eat beforehand and not be rude about it. And then when I get there, like, I don't eat.
Most of the people that are, if they're that specific about what they're eating, they eat before and they just come to the reception.
The proper way to do it is to ask the hosting people
before the wedding.
Can you get me a gluten-free meal or whatever? And then the bride and groom or whoever takes care of it. And if they don't, you go back and say, I'm sorry, my caterer doesn't accommodate. And then they know you can eat before.
Yeah. And then like, they'll come on their own.
And they'll come whenever they come.
Yeah.
But don't invite them.
Yeah.
Because that's rude too.
No, you don't
we don't want two wrongs don't make a right in this situation. But I think that's it. Where's producer Jose?
He hasn't come to get us.
I know.
I have more stories.
Surprised. What else?
I have more stories.
God, we covered a lot today. That's a lot. We did the food tastings, how the gratuity is broken down. If you have any questions, like in particular, then just DM us and we'll put it on. Yeah,
we should put that in a story tonight. Have any questions from the live?
Yeah, you have any questions from the live? You have any questions about your food, catering, anything like that?
How many? Okay, when you're at a wedding, how many pieces of an appetizer do you eat?
Well, it's because it depends.
Well, how many are served?
The table snacks.
How many are served?
That's what I think of as an appetizer.
I will make it a point.
If you have a waiter come by.
Yeah.
I've never had that.
Okay, just pretend you did.
You get one of whatever each is, right? Like, so if there's 3 different, then you have one of each. And then usually they go away, and if they have more, they come back, and they'll say, would you like another one?
And then you...
So that you don't look all crazy and you want to eat all the food. So, okay, I think we're done. Now we're getting picked on to end. Yay. So next month, I don't think we have the date yet. So next month we will cover another topic. If you have any ideas of things you want us to cover, you can message us or DM us on Facebook or Instagram.
My wine at the end.
I know, I finished it a long time ago. So if you have any ideas of any topics, event topics you want us to cover, just message us here. You can also go back on YouTube. It's just search Granberry Hills, the little purple icon, you'll see GH. You can find all of our past lives. We talk about many different things. The last one was good. So if you are planning your event and you're having family issues,
just send them the link. Just send them the link.
Go watch it, then send the link. But anyway, so if you have any ideas, let us know because we're constantly looking for more content. So, all right, guys, we will see you probably mid-month next month. We'll start putting it on social media in a few weeks.
Stay cool and dry. Stay cool.